지금부터 밀고 당기기는 하지만 너 하지만 Baby please Baby please Let me be your love Baby please Baby please Let me be your love
The drive through the twisting mountain roads felt longer than it should have, especially with Jimin sitting next to you, making the tension in the car almost unbearable. The weekend getaway with friends had been planned for months, but when a storm rolled in and grounded everyone else, you were left with the last person you wanted to be stuck with, your enemy. Jimin. The one person who seemed to take every opportunity to get under. You two had never gotten along. The had started small, fueled by biting comments and an almost competitive need to one-up each other at every turn. But over the years it had escalated, leaving nothing but sharp words and cold glares between you. Now, as fate would have it, you were stuck with him, driving through a storm to a remote cabin in the woods. The rain slammed against the windshield, and you tightened your grip on the seatbelt, feeling the tires struggle on the slippery gravel road. Could this storm get any worse? You muttered, casting a glance at the darkening sky. Look on the bright side, Jimin replied, his voice annoyingly calm. At least you get to spend the weekend with me. You, him a sharp look. I'd rather take my chances in this storm. He smirked, his eyes still on the road, clearly enjoying your discomfort. You've got a sharp tongue, but we both know you'd freeze out there. You rolled your eyes, biting back another retort. The cabin was supposed to be a fun retreat with friends, a chance to relax and unwind. Instead, it felt like you were walking into a trap and Jimin was just waiting for you to lose your cool. After what felt like hours, the cabin finally came into view, nestled among the towering trees, isolated from the rest of the world. The rain pounded harder as Jimin parked the car. You stared at the small structure, dread washing over you. How were you going to survive this weekend with him? Well, Jimin finally said, breaking the silence. Are we just going to sit here, or do you want to get inside? You scoffed. I'd rather not get soaked, but I guess there's no avoiding it. Before he could respond, you shoved open the car door and stepped out into the downpour. The cold rain hit you instantly, soaking through your clothes in seconds as you grabbed your bag from the trunk. Jimin followed, moving swiftly toward the cabin door as you trailed behind, shivering from the cold. When he finally unlocked the door and pushed it open, you rushed inside. The cabin was small, rustic, and annoyingly cozy. It would have been perfect if not for your current company. You glanced around and spotted the fireplace in the corner. Its darkened hearth, a reminder that you'd soon be freezing inside if a fire wasn't started quickly. Great, I'll start the fire. You can figure out where you're sleeping, Jimin said, of his soaked jacket. The cabin was colder than you expected. The draft from the mountains slipping through the cracks in the wooden walls. You were glaring at Jimin, who had just casually tossed his duffel bag on the only bed in the room. Well, I'm taking the bed, he said, his voice thick with arrogance, standing next to you with that annoying grin. What? I'm not sleeping on the floor, you snapped, folding your arms in defiance. Jimin raised an eyebrow, smirking as he leaned in slightly. You're welcome to join me, sweetheart. You rolled your eyes, rising in your chest as you scoffed. You wish. The tension crackled in the air between you as you both started getting ready for bed. You rummaged through your bag, looking for your pajamas. When your stomach sank, you hadn't packed any. You muttered, irritated. The frustration of the day was catching up with you, and now this. Jimin glanced up from across the room, a grin creeping across his face as he caught on to your predicament. Without saying a word, he tossed one of his shirts in your direction, and it landed on your back. You glared at him for a moment, but there wasn't much choice. Grabbing his shirt, you walked over to the bed, making sure he could see every step of your approach. You picked up 2 pillows and placed them firmly down the middle of the bed. Your side? You said, pointing to the left. My side, you added, pointing to the right. Jimin chuckled, lying back on his side of the bed, hands behind his head. I feel like you gave yourself more room, sweetheart. You ignored him, slipping under the covers and turning your back to him, determined not to give him any more satisfaction. The silence settled between you as you both raced away from each other. The only sound in the room, the occasional creak of the cabin and the soft rustle of sheets. Hours passed, and you woke up shivering, the cold biting through the thin blankets. The temperature had dropped significantly, and no amount of pulling the covers around you seemed to help. It's cold, you whispered to yourself, barely able to stop your teeth from chattering. You tried shifting closer to the center of the bed without disturbing the pillow barrier. But that's when you felt it, a heavy arm draped over your waist, pulling you closer. Jimin, what are you doing? You mumbled groggily, not entirely sure if you were dreaming. He buried his head into the of your neck, his breath warm against your. You're cold, he murmured, his voice low and. Just for tonight, you can meet tomorrow. You should have pushed him away, but the warmth he provided was irresistible in the freezing cabin. Exhausted, you gave up on resisting, letting your relax against him. You drifted off quickly, cocooned in the of his, but just before sleep fully claimed you. Jimin shifted slightly, his head lifting from your neck. His curved into a smirk as he glanced toward the heater he had surgery turned off earlier that evening, ensuring the cold night would drive you into his arms. He buried his face into your neck once more, satisfaction gleaming in his eyes as you peacefully beside him.